Hello everyone and welcome to this video on Spring Boot uh, introduction, right? And if you remember, we are basically trying to come up with a training microservice. So in the previous video, you would have seen that we have moved this message from the controller class to the service class, right? I just wanted to take this one step further, right? And see how we can actually configure this message so that we don't have to hard code this in a Java class, right? And how we can do this is, or what I mean by configuring this as a configuration is that we will put this in the application.properties file, right? And the difference between putting it in a Java class versus putting it in a properties file is that anything that goes in your Java class, whenever it has to undergo a change, it will have to be rebuilt, right? The entire jar file will have to be rebuilt. Whereas these application.properties file are not really compiled, right? Basically, these values are injected when the jar file is executed. So anything that is in the application.properties file doesn't require recompilation even if you update the values, right? So with that bit of introduction of application.properties file or configuration files, let's just do this small bit of a change. So what I'll do is I'll copy this hello world message and I will put it in the application.properties file. So I'll just say this is a hello dot world dot message and equal to, and I'll paste this. I'll remove the double quotes. I think these are not required, right? And I'll copy this key, come back to the service class, right? And I'll use or basically introduce a new annotation called @value. So this is also a Spring Boot annotation, which is used to read values of a properties file, right? And just look at the syntax that we need to follow. Look carefully at the syntax that we need to follow. So inside the double quotes, we need to have a dollar, then an curly brace, and then the key that you want to read, basically, right? The value of which you want to read. And in order to pass this value in a variable, we will just hello world message, right? We will, so what Spring Boot will do is it will read the value from the application properties file and it will inject that value into this string variable, or basically it will update the value of this string variable with the value present in the application properties file, right? So I'll just copy this variable and put it over here, right? So with this bit of change, I'll just start this application once again, and let's see if it is able to read that particular message from the properties file, right? So this is our URL. Let's just hit it again just to see if it's working. And as you can see, it is working and it is showing hello world, which is the message that we had added in the properties file now, right? So if you just want to double check, I'll just put another message, like I'll just update this message to say hello world dev, and I'll restart it, right? And I go back to the browser and I hit it again, and it shows hello world dev, which means it is able to read from the application properties file, right? So next we are going to look at how we can create multiple properties file per environment, right? And then basically create Spring Boot profiles. We'll introduce Spring Boot profiles and see how we can read configuration values as per the profile that has been set as active. So stay tuned.